evening. Welcome to the Government News Brief for Wednesday, May 24, 2017. In the news this evening, government continues to monitor Regions 7 and 8. New board members of the Guyana National Newspapers Limited and the National Communications Network receive instruments of appointment, and Youth Week observances continue. These and other stories when the news returns. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us. I am Renetta LaFleur. Here are the details. The government continues to monitor the severe flooding in Regions 7 and 8, even as it continues to provide relief. Details in this report. Minister within the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, Valerie Garrido-Low, recently visited Waipa Village and provided supplies and additional medical support for the residents.
We brought in enough supplies, I think, for this evening. And tomorrow 2 other plane loads coming with more supplies. Tomorrow I'll speak to you, just saying good night and that I'm here to be with you. And I'm happy to see that Laura, I heard she was here all the time. So you had company and had help. We're happy about that. So we're here also. We brought 2 doctors. One will stay and one will go to Kaibaro Fight tomorrow. So any of you who are suffering with any kind of illness, especially diarrhea, vomiting and so on, please make sure you see doctor in the morning.
Additionally, 2 engineers from the Guyana Defense Force, along with technical staff from the Guyana Water Incorporated, have been deployed to Itabac and Kanapang in Region 8. Acting Director for CDC, Major Kester Craig, says this is a collaborative interagency effort.
This is an interagency response, it's not one agency. We've been coordinating all the agencies so they bring their resources here and we deploy it to the location. Or if a particular agency deployed the resources to the forward logistics center, we would then coordinate the response to the other location. So as it relates to the Ministry of Indigenous People Affairs, they receive donation on behalf of the ministry and then they bring it to the Civil Defense Commission. They've also deployed 2 personnel to support this operation. One is liaising with the Civil Defense Commission and one is being deployed to the Forward Logistics Center in Orondo.
The engineers will be assessing the damaged roads and buildings, facilitate water quality testing, and set up purification systems. This is being done to determine the long-term response that will be required from the state. Medical personnel will also be deployed into the affected areas. Joan Salvador Tusha of Kaibaru Pai explains that this flood is the first of its kind and has caused severe damage to the residents' properties.
Homes, residents, you can imagine, all the way down, left bank, right bank is totally damaged. And everything is lost.
How many families were affected?
Almost the whole of Kaibaru Pai. Everybody is complaining that they have been encountering these damages. But about 30-50 people, they lost their everything, their hammocks, their belongings, their clothing, whatever.
To date, the government has expended $7.9 million to provide relief to the affected communities. Over $2 million was used for flights, while over $4 million was used for food supplies for the regions.
Spent on food hampers and then flights. This does not include the flights that are being provided by the Guyana Defense Force. So if that flight cost is incorporated, they're going to be significantly higher. But this price is going to continue to go up because we're now preparing hampers for distribution in Region 7 and those communities that are affected.
Interested persons and organizations can contact the Civil Defense Commission if they wish to assist in the ongoing relief efforts. Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu presented the instruments of appointment to some of the new members of the boards of directors of the state agencies, Guyana National Newspapers Limited and National Communications Network. Gabriela Patram reports.
The brief ceremony took place at the official residence of the Prime Minister today. Minister of State Joseph Harmon was also present at the ceremony. He implored the new appointees to ensure that the public is given timely and accurate information.
If, as a state, we are unable to communicate the work which we do, we are unable to communicate our message to the length and breadth of this country, then people will say, you all are doing nothing as a government. And we've had that kind of complaints, we had that kind of statements made, that we've been here for 2 years and we ain't doing nothing. Before that, quite a bit. But I think it is to the extent to which people have not been informed properly about what we are doing. It is to that extent that those statements will hold sway in our society.
He told the directors that the government expects that they give guidance and oversight to the state's primary broadcast and print media entities. He also urged that they do so with transparency whilst maintaining their integrity.
I believe that your work is important, that whatever policy guidelines you set, it is that will be reflected in the entities under which you have some control. And it is that information that will be communicated to the public. We are not here in the government to tell you what to do. I believe that our work speaks for itself. And we believe in transparency. We believe that the board should have integrity, and that we believe that you should be open to the Guyanese people so that they can see what it is that you're doing.
The Minister of State also reminded the new appointees that the position is not about financial reward but of providing a selfless service to the nation.
I have had the experience, Prime Minister, of many of our boards, when people actually get to start working on the board, they feel, well, that this thing is pure work and that the remuneration package is not enough. But this here is a call to service. This is a call for you to give service to your country in the capacities in which you're being sworn in today. And I trust that you will always remember that this is about service and not about reward for oneself, but service and selfless service to your country and to your community.
Receiving their instruments for the GNNL were Chairman Gita Chandan Edmond and other members Aaron Fraser, Karen Davis, Ruel Johnson, Shara Duncan, and Hilbert Foster, and from NCN, Chairman Enrico Wolford, Kamal Prasad, and Dean Gobit. The remaining members of the board were absent due to several being overseas on training and other work. They will receive their instruments at a later date. For the Government News Brief, Gabriela Batram.
Youth Week observances continue today at Durban Park with a career exposition and health fair. Delon Sanko tells us more.
The Expo and Health Fair serves to provide young people with the opportunities available to them when on a career path. Minister within the Ministry of Education, Nicolette Henry, reminded the hundreds of school children gathered that they are the future of Guyana. The minister says that the challenge that the government faces is building a creed of young people who are well trained.
For this to happen, it is imperative that we do our utmost to prepare our younger generation. We now have CARICOM and Commonwealth Youth Ambassadors here in Guyana. Prior to 2015, this was not available 8 years before. And so, when we talk about the youth policy that was introduced into this beautiful country, that too came after a prolonged absence. And while this may not be counted as anything by some section of our population, to my mind, it demonstrates the government of Guyana's commitment to the youth population of this country.
The youths were also encouraged by Minister of Public Telecommunications, Catherine Hughes, to take advantage of the opportunities available. One of these opportunities, Minister Hughes urged the youths, is to pursue information communication technology.
I have a dream. I have a dream that you young people, Guyana's most precious assets, will take this country to new heights. You are the chosen generation. You will recognize that everywhere people are talking of a world food shortage in the next 20 years. And you will also recognize that you are right here, sitting on endless land with great potential for any agricultural business. One of you will design the robots that will water the fields and spray the fertilizers. You will use the technology of today that you know so well to transform Guyana.
The National Youth Week is being observed under the theme Inspiring Our Youth, celebrating their achievements. The week affords young Guyanese the opportunity to reflect on the critical role that the youths play, where they will be given the opportunity to express their concerns. Delon Sanko for the Government News Brief.
The The merger between the Government Information Agency and the Department of Public Information is expected to be completed by the end of the year. More in this Delicia Haynes report.
The merger between the DPI and GINA will be finalized by December 31, 2017. As of January 1, 2018, the two units will be recognized under the name DPI. The rest of this year will allow for the transition process of the two agencies. Prime Minister Moses Nagamootoo says this will put the politicized GINA in the past.
While we are doing better, we have not done enough. We have been able to get into news outlets more than we had done in the past. But at the same time, we have not been able significantly to change the brand, the GINA brand, that it was a party propaganda instrument. And the politicization from a partisan point of view of the public information that we would like to guard against.
The Prime Minister today met with staff of the two agencies. Prime Minister Nagamootoo adds that since the APNU-AFC government assumed office in 2018, the content provided by GINA has changed, providing facts instead of propaganda to the public.
It is for the first time that GINA has assumed a role of covering what the opposition does in the parliament and what the judiciary is doing and what the executive is doing, as well as what Parliament is doing, the Speaker and Parliament, they are doing at the level of the legislature, so that we have the defined function for public information that delimits the temptation even of partisan slant to public information.
The Prime Minister notes that all information agencies of the government have a responsibility of ensuring factual evidence-based information is disseminated to the public for the citizenry to be up to date with the work of the government. For the Government News Brief, Delicia Haynes.
We now take a look at some of the interventions government is making to alleviate the effects of flooding in Region 8.
Not getting anything, and it breaks our history that we never get this type of flood in our community. So everybody's sad right now at the moment, and people are always wondering where to go, but they're just there. Are we expecting I understand that we are expecting a bad one than this, so we are sad at the moment, especially like our church is down. We are nowhere to say, well, yes, we can praise the Lord. Almost the whole of Kaibarpai, everybody is complaining that they have been encountering these damages, but about 30-50 people, they lost their everything, their hammocks, their belongings, their clothing, whatever, and they can't find it back up to now.
We have come to the end of today's edition of the Government News Brief. The details of these and other stories can be found on GINA's website. GINA has an active Facebook page, and we encourage you to visit and like us so you can be informed as the news unfolds. Do join us tomorrow for another edition of the Government News Brief. I am Renetta LaFleur. Have a great evening.